Hello again. I'm going to make a video that I'm calling Got 2 Minutes, Get a Chatbot. We'll be able to use a free template to jumpstart it. It'll save you a lot of time. It'll give you all of the code from a GitHub repository, and it will use the Railway cloud services. So that means super easy deployments will make you happy. The video will be longer than 2 minutes. However, I do want to show a deployment of this technology. I'll walk through it, one that I've already done, and then I will go back through and set up a brand new one, and we can set our stopwatches, and we should see that it'll take around 2 minutes. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for watching and subscribing. In this video, I will be using Railway, which if you didn't see my other videos, I went into depth about how to set it up from scratch, and also made another video about all the different templates. And in this video, I'm just going to specifically focus on the chatbot. So this is their home page, and then here is the Railway marketplace. And as they say here, you can deploy an app in minutes, which is actually true. And if I scroll down just a little bit here, we'll go ahead and take a look at the AI machine language. So that is in the category, and right here is Chatbot UI. So let's go ahead and click on that, and here you can see what the name of it is, and if you wanted to deploy it, you just click the deploy now button. In order to do that, it does mean you need to have a GitHub account already set up. You do need to have like a hobby account on the Railway. If you try to set up a free tier account, which they do offer, your GitHub account has to meet certain criteria that don't seem to be published, so I'm not sure if your GitHub will qualify for the $5 free credits. But in my case, I have a hobby plan, so we're going to go take a quick look at that, and then we will deploy a brand new one and see how long it takes. So here I am in my hobby plan of Railway, and I will point out the GitHub code. This is what came from the Railway template that I just showed. There's a lot of code in here. And if you're interested, of course, you can take a copy of it and study the code and see how it's working. I did plug in my open AI key, which you do need to have that because it's going to use that behind the scenes to make the chatbot work. So that did already happen also in my currently running version of this application. And here we can see in the repository the chatbot UI. The Railway created that private repository. Well, I guess this one actually does say public. So it created the public repository. Let's go back to my Railway dashboard page, and that's this one right here. I did rename it. I called it Scott's Chatbot UI.up.railway.app. So let's go ahead and click on that. And we can see here it was deployed 10 hours ago. And we can see that also listed here, and we can see it was the initial commit. If we look at the variables, it defined the port for us, and the open AI key, it does ask you that when you're getting this application set up the first time. And we have a metrics page. That's 1 hour. Let's go ahead and do 1 day. And we can see some activity on there. And if we go into the settings, here we can see automatic deployments. I did enable that. If you wanted to disable it for any reason, you can just click the button there. And it is hooked up to the main branch in the GitHub repository that I showed right here. So now this application is set up to automatically deploy any changes if you were to make any changes in your GitHub repository. There's a lot of other settings there under the settings screen, but I'm not going to go through those in this video since I went through those in a lot more detail in my most recent videos. So let's go ahead and run the application and see what it looks like. Alright, so here is the chatbot UI. You can see if you use ChatGPT, it does look a lot like it, and that was their intention, to go ahead and make it similar to that experience. You can choose different models if you have access to them. I only have access to the 3.5. And if you want to view your account usage, if you have that logged in, you can click on the view account usage, so it will show you what you've used with the OpenAI usage meter. Here you can see the system prompt. You are a ChatGPT, a large language model trained by OpenAI. Follow the user's instructions carefully. Respond using Markdown. And the temperature, higher values like 0.8 will make the output more random, while lower values like 0.2 will make it more focused and deterministic. So we're just going to leave it at 1.0 for now. And up here we can see I can create a new chat or do a search, and we can also import and export data, and then there are some settings. All this came as part of the template that came from Railway and came from open source developers. Let's go ahead and ask it a question. Write me a tic-tac-toe game using JavaScript, HTML, and Bootstrap CSS. Let's hit enter. And let's let it finish generating there. I'll be right back. So there it finished. We can copy the above code and save it as a HTML file. Let's scroll back up just for a moment. Here you can see there is a copy code button, so we could go ahead and do that. But let's ask it another question. Explain all of the code that you just created. So as we can see, this is a very similar experience to the ChatGPT. And again, it only took me a matter of seconds or a minute or two to get everything set up and then use their template. Once you have multiple chats created, you can go up here and search, or you can create your new chat, or you can edit your current question that you asked. If you want to clear your conversations, you can do that down here. Here I created a new system prompt and told it to tell me funny stories about IT or in a funny manner. And so here I said, tell me how the internet started. And so here we can see that it's trying to be funny. The origins of the internet, a tale as old as time itself, or at least as old as the 1960s. Once upon a time, in a world before social media and cat videos, there were a bunch of scientists who worked for the United States Department of Defense. They had a problem, you see. Their computers were lonely and needed a way to communicate with each other. So they put on their thinking caps and came up with a genius idea called the ARPANET. So there you go. It told me an accurate and funny story about how the internet got started. Well, I'm not going to do anything else with the ChatGPT, but you can see it does have a lot of similarities to the actual ChatGPT itself. And this is called Chatbot UI, which you can see down at the bottom here. That will take you to the GitHub page that I already showed. And it says Chatbot UI is an advanced chatbot kit for for OpenAI's chat models aiming to mimic ChatGPT's interface and functionality. So I think this is just a really great way to check out their code that's very professionally written and to get a chatbot up and running quickly on the internet. And of course using Railway, which is a great way to deploy your applications quickly. So with that said, let's go back to Railway and we'll create a brand new version of this chatbot and we'll see how long it takes. We're back on the home page. Let's go ahead and click New Project. And we will say Deploy a Template. I'll type in Chatbot UI, click OK or click on the item. And it asks us what we want to call it. I'm going to call it Chatbot UI 2. In the GitHub repository, as I said, this has already been set up and linked to it, which was a one-time deal. And let me go ahead and plug in my OpenAI key, and then we will click on Deploy. All right, I fit in my OpenAI key, and now it's creating the project and it's starting to spin things up. So let's see how long it takes. And I'll just go ahead and let this run in real time and we'll see when it finishes, and then we'll give the application a try. All right, that was a little less than 3 minutes, so 2 minutes and some change. Let's go ahead and click on this now. And we can see that it said about 3 minutes ago. Let's check our GitHub repository. I'll hit refresh. Go to the repositories. And there is Chatbot UI 2. So we can see that it did deploy the code out there in the GitHub repository. And I made it a private repository this time. All right, so let's see what it did here. It has the OpenAI key that I fed in and it assigned a port. There will be no metrics since I haven't used it yet. And we can see here automatic deployments has already been set up from the main. And if you wanted to disable the trigger, you could. And all the other settings below this, I won't go through in detail because that's covered in another one of my Railway videos. But let's go ahead and try it. Here we have the URL. So I can go ahead and click on that. And here is the application as we saw in my other part of the video. So now let's say we want comical stories about IT in a summary format. And we'll go ahead and let it be creative. You can move this around, but we'll leave it on, maybe we'll change it to 9 this time, just to make it a little different. And let's ask it, explain the main technology used to build the internet. And then let's hit enter. The internet, that glorious digital realm we all can't live without, was constructed using a fascinating blend of technologies. At its core, it relies on transmission control protocol, internet protocol. Not the tasty cracker, unfortunately. TCP/IP is like the ultimate power couple, with TCP handling the reliable delivery of data and IP taking care of addressing and routing. These protocols ensure a seamless networking communication experience while secretly fueling the rise of cat videos and online shopping addictions. It's a technological love story that has connected the world and made procrastination more accessible than ever before. That's kind of funny. So there you go. It took just a little over 2 minutes, mostly waiting for it to build it. A couple of mouse clicks and you can have a running chatbot. So I just think this is another great way to utilize this kind of technology. And I really like Railway, and I hope you found this video interesting and helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. I'm trying to make about 7 videos in 7 days about some other interesting topics. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'll talk to you soon.
If you like this channel, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new content.